What if I told you that the company behind the silly anime horse racing game created one of the best gacha-like experiences based on a game that looks like this? Then you'd probably call me crazy. This is Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, an action RPG created by Games that has single-handedly ruined every other gacha game for me. It's having some of the best action combat in its genre, a huge list of playable characters to collect, and a progression grind similar to that of a gacha game. Relink is the perfect alternative to those of us who enjoy gacha games, but not the gacha aspect of them. And with the game receiving a huge expansion in literally a couple of weeks, I think there is no better time than now to talk about why I love this game in the hopes that I can convince some of you to go try out the game for yourself. So let's start off talking about the core pillar of any gacha, the characters. You see, my main problem with gachas is that despite certain characters using different weapons, they all end up feeling pretty much the same to play. So when you take a look at Relink's large cast of 21 different playable characters, you can't help but wonder, do they all really play differently?
Yes.
While a couple characters do have some overlap, they all fundamentally play differently. Taking a quick look at some examples, you got Charlotta, who loves sticking close to the enemy like a mosquito, Twayan, who attacks from the safety of the backline, Basaraga, the 1 HP champ, Zeta, the acrobatic gymnast, and Cagliostro, who supports the team while being slightly psychopathic. Now I could go on and on about how every single one of these characters play, but that would take me literal ages to explain everything. So just trust me when I say this, there's a play style here for everyone. And with the game giving these characters their own unique combos, mechanics, and interchangeable skills means that even if two characters are using the same weapon type, they still end up playing vastly different from one another. But that's not even the best part, because get this, you can get all of these characters just by playing the game. Crazy, I know. So now that you have your character, what do you actually do in this game? Well, after you beat the relatively short and sweet story mode, the game lets you loose to complete about 120 different quests which you can tackle with your AI party members or 3 other goofballs in co-op. These quests can range from clearing out waves of enemies, defending an objective, to arguably the best part about this game, boss battles. There are around 30 different bosses in the game, all with their own unique movesets and mechanics that can have your game looking as simple as this to... What the fuck is happening? Yeah. Relink can be a bit of a challenging game. If you come into Relink expecting the combat to be as easy as other similar games, then you're in for a rude awakening. Now that's not to say that this game is some sort of Souls-like, but more like a traditional hack and slash on steroids. All of the bosses in the game have telegraph attacks, with a lot of moves having MMO-like indicators letting you know if you're about to get manhandled, with some fights even feeling like bullet hells with the amount of attacks you have to look out for, which has me concerned for how well the YouTube bitrate is holding up. But no other fight in this game showcases difficulty better than my personal favorite endgame boss, Lucilius and his harder counterpart, Zero, who starts the whole fight by giving your party the middle finger and absolutely pulverizing the arena. Lucilius is the apex of this game's difficulty, with fast, devastating attacks, ability to inflict permanent debuffs, and having mechanics that require your whole party to work together. He is a boss that demands your attention, because otherwise, he will tear your shit up. And while other bosses aren't as soul-crushing as Lucilius, they all still provide a good challenge that helps keep the fast-paced action of this game engaging. And the presentation during these fights is just so good. To the visual effects and the music, my god, the music. I mean, just take a listen to some of these tracks. All of this makes it to where nearly 400 hours later, I'm still not bored of fighting these bosses. Well, most of them anyways. I'm looking at you, Excavalion. But regardless of what boss you fight, at the end of every mission you get specific drops that go towards making your character stronger. And dear god, there's a lot of systems here. To leveling up your characters to 100, character masteries, completing characters' offensive and defensive skill trees, crafting, leveling up, uncapping, and awakening weapons, which also have their own skill trees. There is a lot here for you to grind for, which depending on how much of a grind you can tolerate is probably what's going to keep you playing for hours on end or just giving up entirely. But out of all of those systems, no other influences your build as much as sigils. Sigils are this game's primary gearing system, where the higher level sigil you have equipped, the stronger its effects are. Some sigils are focused on increasing your overall damage, adding utility to your kit, increasing survivability, or improving how your specific character performs. Want to be able to dodge more than 3 times in a row? There's a sigil for that. Want your character's element to always match the enemy's weakness? There's a sigil for that. Maybe you want your attacks to proc an extra hit. There's a sigil for that. This system allows for a lot of build diversity even when DPS oriented builds start getting favored more towards the endgame. Regardless, the constant grind to min-max my character builds helps scratch that certain itch I look for from gacha games. Paired with the engaging combat and excellent boss fights makes Relink one of the best gacha games I've ever experienced that isn't even a gacha, allowing you to grind to your heart's content with none of the daily progression caps like energy systems. Hell, the game is so good that it holds the spot for the 3rd highest concurrent player count among JRPGs on Steam, with absolutely glowing reviews and being the only game I've ever seen where people were complaining about the game not being a live service. So when Cygames decided to drop the DLC announcement after 2 years of pure silence during this year's Nintendo Direct, it's safe to say some of us went crazy. Endless Ragnarok looks to take everything great about this game and expanding on it tenfold by promising to give us not only new content, but also a whole host of quality of life changes. From simple things like the addition of crossplay and an improved UI, to more meaningful additions, like the introduction of a solo roguelike mode that seems to help streamline the grind, a whole new difficulty tier that comes with new over-the-top bosses, a goddamn summoning system which allows us to play as fucking Lucilius himself, new progression systems, and most importantly, new playable characters. There's also a free demo out right now that lets you play a bit of the story alongside a couple of quests where you can try out the new summoning system and a couple of the characters, including Beatrix. Hell, depending on how quickly I can crank out this video, the DLC could already be out. So if anything I've talked about in this video sounds interesting to you, please, for the love of God, grab a couple of buddies and play this game. If you can't find anyone to play with, go ask around in the community Discord, which I'll link down below. And if you still can't find anyone, at me, and I will play with you, given I'm not busy.
Stop the cap.
I really want this expansion to succeed in the hopes for more future expansions or maybe even a new sequel, because this game really is one of a kind, being a game that a gacha hater and lover like me has been asking for a really, really long time.
Not a soul shall be spared.
The end of all calamity! Lines of War! Shine as one! Absolute zero!